Tutumu da koydum.
Anahtarı verdim sana. Tamam.
Sound is
Dear participants, hello.
Hello.
Now our fourth session is starting. First of all, I want to thank to all of you for your participation. Now this session will be in English language, and the first presentation will be done by Mohsen Ali Heydari. Mohsen Ali Heydari, I think. Mr. Mohsen, can you open your microphone?
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Mohsen. Now, of course, you know, time is limited by only 5 minutes. Now, if you want, you can start your presentation, but please don't forget 5 minutes.
Yes. Thank you very much. Çox təşəkkür edirəm səndən Dr. Serkan. Çox zəhmət çəkibsiz.
Thank you very much.
Sağ ol. I'm so happy and honored to have, excuse me, I want to share the screen, but I can't. Please let me share my screen.
Now I press the button. I think that you can share it.
Yes. That's right. I'm so happy and honored to have the chance to attend in the Econder 2020 and present our latest research, which is provided with help of my mentor, dear Professor Esmail Abunuri. Professor Esmail Abunuri and I from Iran Semnan University intend to present our research in this honorable Congress, entitled Forecasting Real Price of Oil using Dynamic Linear Model under Linex loss function, which is a asymmetry loss function, to address the situation in which the risk of underestimation and overestimation is different. Therefore, our response to the problem of asymmetry is reflected concerning the selection of loss function. This might have significant impact on the results of estimation and forecasting the oil price or any financial assets. As you know, common loss functions are almost any econometrics methods and approaches use that, like ARMA family or Garch and Arch family and etc., are mainly based on minimization of squared residuals and errors. And this is the loss function which has to be minimized by definition. In this matter, to pursue the matter of asymmetry in oil price forecasting, we feed reputable Hotelling model of depletable resource with dynamic linear model under quadratic loss function, which is a common standard conventional and symmetry loss function, and compare the results with Linex loss function, which is quiet asymmetry. You can see Hotelling model and derivatives in equation number 1. After that, we use process of Ornstein-Ohlenbeck, which you can see in equation number 2. This is AR1, with two unobservable latent variable, and in the next step, we use linear exponential loss function, which known as line X, which is proposed by Varian 1975 and developed by Zellner 1986. We put our state space model, equation number 2, which is DLM also, in computing the best point estimation of the third steps of procedure of posterior distribution, filtering, and forecasting. We put linear, you can see in the bottom, we put line X based best point estimation of posterior distribution for computing admissible mean and variance of the 3 steps, which you can see at the bottom of the page. At the end of our estimation, we compare the results of DLM under quadratic loss function and the other loss function, which is line X. You can see in table number 1. The result is clear in this. The results have been compared by using tile inequality index, which is presented also in table number 2. You can see at the bottom. And our results suggest that the line X loss function may give far better and more accurate forecasts than conventional quadratic loss function, which is quite common and which is quite conventional loss function. Our finding can be applied in financial models, pricing process, yes, socioeconomic models, and can be adopted to be embodied in ARMA and GARCH family, which is quite large use of this. Thank you very much, Dr. Serkan.
Thank you very much to your qualified research. Also, we know that oil prices plays an important role in Iranian economy and some other Middle East countries. This is very important research area for the world. And I want to ask any question, if there is any question to Mr. Mohsen. I think that there is not any question. So thank you very much, Mr. Mohsen.
Thank you very much.
Now is Esmail Abonaili and Anaita Rosa Iraf. Anita Rosa Iraf. Mr. Esmail, Anaita, will you present it or Professor Esmail present this?
Hello, I'm here.
So
Professor Serkan.
So you will present this research.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Now you can start, but please don't forget we have only 5 minutes.
Okay. Econder 2020, International Economics, Business and Social Science Congress. Title paper, The Relationship Between Global Oil Price and Bitcoin, Using Conditional Couple-up Function. Authors, Dr. Ismail Abu Nouri, I'm Anaita Ruzitala, Department of Economics, Semnan University, Iran. In recent years, the globalization of financial market, financial integration, and complex derivatives has created a turbulent environment in financial market. As a result, companies and investors are exposed to more financial risk than ever before. Risk and uncertainty in investor discussion cause investors to always look for new tools and risk assessment to minimize the potential losses of their project. In estimating the value at risk of financial assets, correlation between portfolio components should also be considered, typically using correlation coefficient. It should be noted that this criterion applies when the distribution of data is normal. Science margin distribution in financial market is not normal. This criterion will not be effective in estimating the correlation between cupola theories is one of the models that allows marginal distribution to be connected to each other to form a joint distribution. This function actually makes it possible to divide the multivariate distribution function into two parts, marginal distribution and dependency structure. This feature always are the individual characteristics of the portfolio returns to be maintained in the form of marginal distribution, and the information on the dependency structure can be examined regardless of any assumption of normality and linear correlation. Estimation of multivariate cupola M-Gauge models. Estimating the cupola multivariate gauge model consists of three steps. Step 1, be examined. Is there arch effect or not? Step 2, B, estimate the conditional marginal distribution function based on the M-Gauge model. X and Y in the portfolio using MLE method. Step 3, after finding the conditional marginal distribution function for each variables based on the M-Gauge model estimation, we obtain the joint distribution function using the cupola function. Finally, we need to determine which type of cupola is more suitable for constructing the conditional joint distribution function of the portfolio. Result, according table 1, sequence and the Curtius indicate that both distributions are negatively skewed and highly prolific. In our boards, oil price and Bitcoin result have unusual and unexpected movement. The Jack-Bra statistics also rejects the normality of both returns. As a result, the normal distribution cannot be described the characteristics of the returns. Science, both empirical distribution are not normal. B, process using CM gauge taking 1, 2, and 3 steps. Conclusion and recommendation. As a result, according to the evaluation test, the cupola bear select for the portfolio consists of the global oil and Bitcoin price returns. After examining the structure of the dependent, it was found that portfolio returns have the symmetrical structure and respond more to change in the mean, the change in the tile or a limit value. Thank you very much, Dr. Serkan.
We thank you, Mrs. Now, is there any question to Mrs. Anahita Rosa-Irap? Is there any question? There is nothing in chat box, and I don't see anybody who hands up. So thank you very much, Mrs. Now time is for Mr. Alireza Kashefi. Mr. Alireza Kashefi is here. Mr. Alireza Kashefi. Mr. Alireza Kashefi is here. Another author is Esmair, Professor Esmair. Will you present Mr. Ismail.
Hello, Professor Serkan. I'm here, but
Hello.
but I assume that Mr. Kashvi will
We couldn't see Mr.
present the
Kashefi.
paper. I think he had some problem with the internet. Yeah,
There is
I think
Akash.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Areza Kashefi. Okay. Now we can hear you, and time is yours. You
Sir,
can
Akash, this side.
present, but please don't forget 5 minutes rule, because there are other sessions after this.
Yes, sir, sure. One second. Hello, namaste, merhaba, Umarin Aizisinder. Myself, Akash from India. This pandemic situation, unprecedented situation, has brought about certain challenges in many ways, and I owe my respect to this dignified university and Dr. Sarkanda that they have converted these challenges into opportunities by making several peoples come on this virtual platform and discuss about various factors, right? So this extraordinary situation has brought about several countries to live at the tip of recession, whereby the pandemic unfolds in the country of India as well. So International Monetary Fund, or where we talk about the World Bank or the Reserve Bank of India, which is the governing authority, has talked about the concept which we need to cater upon, that how we need to cater the economy back onto the track with respect to the businesses which are getting stressed. It would be very beautiful to tackle with a quotation that a recession tests the metals of investors. Now this paper is wholly aimed to discuss about how and the businesses which are having capital infusion, high adequate capital infusion, are acquiring these stressed entities. Now with respect to this, with due to time constraint, I would be just focusing over the mergers and acquisition concept. With respect to this, if we talk about mergers and acquisition concept, mergers and acquisition were brought about in 19th century in India, whereby the one business entity entangles into another business entity to have increased their revenues over it, create synergies over and above, and also it helps into shielding of tax liabilities over it. Now mergers and acquisition was brought about to lift the economy, but to the extent the big fishes, the big business houses have taken the undue advantages of stressed assets, stressed companies, and by infusing their capitals into that companies. Now this pandemic is basically creating such a situation whereby the big fishes or the big business houses might result into merging with some of the stressed entities and thereby taking undue advantage of that. With respect to this mergers and acquisition, it talks about a concept which we need to cater upon, that is hostile takeover or the opportunistic takeover, which was under the ambit of merger and acquisition back in 1991 in India. Now, if we talk about hostile takeover, it was basically where the one company without the consent of another can, infuse their capital through the FDI regime, that is foreign direct investment regime. Basically, hostile takeover, if we talk about, was brought about in India to increase or to, economically develop the security market rather than to destroy it. But this concept allowed the firms to, infuse their capital and predatory investments into the firm, and thereby creating destruction of the domestic players in the country. During this pandemic, if we talk about, the Indian government has always been on the upfront to tackle upon these situations, and the LODR, the listing obligations of the companies, or if we talk about the ICDR regulations, takeover code which governs the takeover of one company by another company, has been taken in due considerations, and various amendments to the same has been made. If we talk about the cap has been increased 25% of public announcement if we are catering one company into another company, which thereby acts as a generic of protecting the stressed companies by, so that they are not acquired by the big fishes. This thereby becomes more and more necessary by each and every jurisdiction should take upon the financial measures to uplift their economy, so that their the stressed entities into their jurisdiction survive, and hope so surely we would be out of this pandemic situation, and the big business houses are not able to cater upon this the stressed entities. With respect to the hostile takeover, if we talk about, the problem comes in the FDI regime, foreign direct investment regime. Now, if we talk about foreign direct investment, in simple terms, it means that whereby one company invests into another jurisdiction through the automated route, or if we talk about the government route. Now, the problem was during this pandemic, big fishes, Chinese firms, if we talk about, US firm, if we talk about, the MSME, the medium sector business houses, urged the government to have such a legal conundrum so that, you know, the big fishes are not able to cater upon the through the infusion of their capital into the Indian jurisdiction. And so much we must have a legal conundrum so that the infusion of capital through the company should be through government route. Now, government Department of, you know, Promotion, Trade and Industry in India, you know, they posted a letter, they directed a letter whereby the neighboring countries and the beneficial owner, thereby directing Pakistan, Bangladesh or Sri Lanka, that even a minuscule, even a small amount of investment into India, they should be governed through the government route. Now, that does not mean the automated route is banned. We need to create a nexus between a balance between FDI as well as the capital infusion of, you know, the big fishes into the, we cannot go into the extremities that we do not want FDIs, or we cannot go into the extremities that all 100% FDI should be there in each and every sector. There has been a cap which has been given to, you know, each and every sector. If we talk about defense sector, 10% cap has been given. You know, the insurance, yesterday in the international summit, our prime minister, you know, gave a very beautiful advancement to the American institutions that they can invest up to 100% into the insurance sector. So thereby creating a, you know, a very balanced situation as to how the stressed entities or how the big fishes cannot have an undue advantage of this situation, and thereby the stressed entities are also saved. If I talk about Germany also came up with a very, you know, Ministry of Industries and this Ministry of Energy has, you know, appreciated a joint venture with a company that any of the FDIs into this country would be through government route. If we talk about Spain has, you know, increased the cap of 10% to non-EU countries so that there has, you know, not been there is not, you know, a capture of, you know, the big fishes to the small entities, and there is equal amount of balance created between the investors and the, you know, the solicitors. With respect to this, the pandemic creates a position whereby, you know, the, if we talk about the big business houses or the companies which have, you know, adequate amount of capital infusion with themselves, do not, they have an advantage over this. They can take over undue advantage of the opportunity and can take over the, you know, stressed entities with playing over the, you know, legal regime. So it becomes necessary for every country to have an open legal regime which creates a balance between each and everything. At the outset, it would be very much, you know, diligent to talk about that the financial regime, if we talk about, it's very, the, you know, the financial authorities of each and every country. If I talk about India, the Reserve Bank of India, if I talk about SEBI, Security Board Exchange of India, they have, you know, equal amount of important role to be played into this, uplifting back the economy into this, and so that these stressed entities, the entities which are, you know, facing low legal conundrums around themselves and they are about to, you know, wind up, they must be protected out of it. And moreover, the finance ministry of each and every country is also entangled upon such a situation whereby protection measures needs to be taken for the stressed companies. The big business houses also have an opportunity over taking, you know, the healthcare sectors or each and every sector. Yes, sir. Thus, I would be concluding. So it would, you know, this is an entangled situation whereby each and every sector has been, you know, under a scrutiny. So there needs to be strike a balance between each and every sector. Moreover, providing equilibrium economy, surely we would be out of this pandemic situation. At the outset, I would be concluding by, you know, owing my respect to this dignified university and Dr. Econder that they have, you know, converted this challenge into an opportunity, making all people come onto a virtual platform and share their views. Thank you, Dr. Econder. Tesecure ederim, if I am not wrong. Thank you so much.
We thank to Mr. Akash for his qualified and fruitful study research. Thank you very much. And is there any question to Mr. Akash? I think that there is not any question. Now it's
so
time
much,
for Mr. Mr. Shararamma. Mr. Shararamma is here. Is she here? Mr. Shararamma. How are you?
Fine, sir. You, sir?
Yes. Now time is yours. You can present your research, but we have only limited time, 5 minutes. Please care about this.
Okay, sir. Good evening to all. Development of under-earth irrigation land and monitoring system using IoT. The author is Mr. Bhavan Kumari, and the paper published by the guys Mr. Niranjan C, Dilip NG Sharanama, and Venkata Satyashai. Abstract. I'm going to explain about the abstract. Abstract. India is the major source of income from the agriculture sector, and 70% of farmers purpose depend on the agriculture. Using IoT could be interacted with the physical devices, which they can communicate with each other over the internet, and it is considered the basis of life for the human species. It is the main sources for the food, grains, and other raw materials. Overall, we are trying to use the IoT usually for better profit and quality production, for better living farmers and the people as well as we are facing problems in agriculture sector. We try to make to change the using the concept of IoT and control, remote control. Agriculture is considered for the life of human species and the food grains and the raw materials. The yield of crop is monitoring the environmental factor is not enough to control enough to control the gains. Solution to improve the IoT, it is a collection of devices to work together to source the task efficiently. We use the IoT as a powerful tool because it enables the smooth communication between the all the high-end devices. We refer these many papers, smart agriculture and irrigation model system using IoT, smart water monitor system. In this paper, for water level content is low. Smart agriculture using the IoT at the stage of harvesting also face the problems in the storage harvested. IoT is smart agriculture enabling technologies. It remove the soil in the agricultural field. Insert of underground earthings in the friction agriculture. It reduces the crops and impact of the future. And then underground water monitoring system using IoT. It will leakage the pipes are unavailable due to the some circumstance. Our paper, a block diagram under earth monitoring system, power supply due to the IoT and the driver circuit relay and load tank pipe leakage sensor which will detect the leakage of the sensor. PS sensor, it is an electronic device which is used to measure the hydrogen activity in a solution. It consists of volumetric attached to the pH responsive electrode. It ranges from 0 to 14 and the temperature is 0 to 80 degrees Celsius. Humidity temp sensor. It measures both temperature and the moisture. It is 8-bit microcontroller. DST11 is a basic ultra low cost digital temperature and the sensor. And then the soil sensor is used. The soil sensor, it will sense the soil in the field moisture. We use the ESP32. ESP32, it is a 2.4 gigahertz single. It is a single chip microcontroller. It is an ultra low power and it is a 40 nanometer and it is an 12-bit ADAC and 32-bit microprocessor. The range is 3.3 volts. The hardware components are used: soil sensor, temperature sensor, humidity sensor, pH sensor, pipe leakage, and device is ESP32 driver circuit relay. The language we used in this paper is C++. We implemented the soil moisture sensor using a ESP32. Soil moisture sensor, it will measure the quantity of the water contained in a soil or not. It measures the water volumetric content. And we use the LED to detect whether the water content is present in or not. If the LED is on, otherwise it is off. If the water is present, then the LED is on. If the water content is not present, the LED will be off. And the soil moisture sensor, we wrote the program for the soil moisture sensor, how to detect the water in the content or not. This is the testing of soil moisture sensor without water content and with water content. And the next is the conclusion. Internet of Things is a new revolution of the internet. It is a key resource for the embedded system. And then now the purpose of the existing system. Our paper involves the implementation of smart factor and monitoring system. Rainwater harvesting. The rainwater is collected and stored in a tanks, are equipped with sensors, so that when the water falls below the water content level, an SMS water level and SMS alert is sent to the farmers. Then the rainwater stored is given to the agriculture field. Then the different sensors are used in the agriculture for analyzing and sending the ESP32 controller remotely, which is then being sent to the Krishi helpline for the crop monitoring system. And then IoT is enabled for the crop monitoring, easy and efficiency, crop irrigation, land connected and aware condition of the agriculture anywhere in the world. We refer these reference papers to our paper. Thank you, sir. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Sharamanna. Of course, the importance of the agriculture sector is increasing after Corona, COVID-19 crisis. And I think that Mr. Mohsen Ali Haydari has a question for you. Mr. Mohsen, you can ask questions. Your microphone is closed.
Hello, excuse me. My question is how they can manage their financial and training that it need for IoT to be common and useful or effective in the institutional culture of India. Indian need to train good to use this technology. It is very modern technology. IoT is really expensive and you need very specific training. This is my question. Thank you.
So once again, sir. Sir, IoT is whole of
Sir,
India.
once you ask, sir, repeat the question.
Ms. Sharamanna, do you hear us?
Sir, repeat the question, sir.
Can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Sir, can you repeat the question once again?
Yes. I just said that IoT is a modern technology which need to be really good financed, and it's need good financial system and very good technical training. You know, my question is how you can manage this for Indian culture and people of India.
Sir, yeah, absolutely, you are fine, sir. So India is nowadays India it's becoming a updating in its technology. Yeah, as seen in in our agricultural lands, I am seeing day by day the water pumps are coming with the sensors inbuilt, so that they can the farmers automatically they can switch or off the water pump automatically through their mobile device technology using Blink application. So yeah, as you said, it's financially very much updated in India. Still, it started updating. As India is developing in developing state, it gets updated as we emerge into our technology. So I have to yeah.
Thank
Is
you.
there any other question? So time is for Shehzad Rakhmanov. Can you open microphone?
Good
Okay, thank
afternoon.
you. Hello, Mr. Shehzad. Now you can present your research, but please in 5 minutes.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Shehzad Rakhmanov, and I'm going to make a presentation on land use and cover change in Khorasan region in Uzbekistan. I'm going to demonstrate my desktop. So hopefully you are seeing my screen. So today I'm going to make a presentation on land use and cover change in Khorasan region. This article depicts on discussion about land use and cover change distribution in Khorasan province, Uzbekistan between 1987 and 2019. For the study, Landsat 5 thematic mapping and Landsat 8 only respectively used to detect land use changes in the study area. Khorasan region affected by Aral Sea shrinkage, having received salt wind from northeast of the region. Moreover, population increased within the study period, making population density more intense. Research is carried out to detect reflection of ecology and density in land use. Remote sensing technique, maximum likelihood, and supervised classification employed to classify land use to generate land cover distribution map. The Khorasan region is located, as you see, it's highlighted in lightly red color of the west side of Uzbekistan. So the territory of the region is placed on the left bank of the Amudera downstream. On the northern part of the Khorasan has lowland oases at an average height of 100 meters. Khorasan's west and southwest sides borders with sandy Karakum Desert. The fossil minerals include limestone, sand, clay, and others. The climate is sharp, continental. The winter is moderately cold and light snow. So for this research, I used Landsat 5 TM data of July 20, 1987, and Landsat 8 data of July 12, 2019, derived from the geological website. The spatial resolution of Landsat 5 TM and 8 only is 30 meters. The study area is mostly plain and lowland oases. Ground reference interpretation was done via visual gaining information from Google Maps, Google Earth, as well as from local cadastral data. ArcGIS 10.3 software was used to process the Landsat geodata. 7 types of land use land cover classes were derived from study area, including agricultural land, bare soil, water bodies, built-up areas, lowland, sandy area, saline land. So this is a result of the 2 images from the 1987 and 2019. So as you see that mostly bare soil converted to saline land, where the RLC region is located here, and because of shrinkage of RLC, wind brought some salt to this area to making land more soil. So this is a table which shows how the land use cover has been changed. So built up area has been increased by almost 5 times. And bare soil land has decreased. As you see, it's more than 5 times, 6 times it's decreased. Lowland also decreased by more than 20 times. As well as water also decreased, while saline land decreased by 10 times, which is because of the shrinkage of RLC. So, in conclusion, we can say that processed geodata with maximum likelihood classification brought good results for how the land use distribution changes over the 32 years. Research find out the significant increase of agricultural land and built-up area due to rise of population reflected in increasing built-up as well as agricultural land. People pushed pressure on natural bare land to gain more space. Also, saline land is increased tremendously, 11 times. Because of natural disaster, RLC shrink, in this case, strong wind moved salt from the former bottom of the sea to neighboring area, including Horizon region. The most gains at the expense of bare land and lowland areas. Thank you very much. This is all my presentation. If you have questions, I'm open to questions. Please turn on your microphone. I can't hear you.
Mr. Sherzod, thank you for you. And is there any question to Mr. Sherzod? And so I think that there is not any question. So time is for Mr. Dr. Kavita. Dr. Kavita is here. Dr. Kavita. Dr. Kavita. So he is not here. Mr. Marua Miriva. Marua Miriva. Mr. Marua Miriva. I think that Mr. Marua Miriva is not here too. So thanks to everyone. Thanks to each participants. Now we finished this session because we have to start the next session.